Salut! Dans cette vidéo, I will explain one of the two structures using the past tense you need to know and recognize for your GCSE. Here we will have a look at how to express the idea of after having done something. Once again, knowing how works the passé composé seen in the lesson number 2 of this module will help you immensely, since you will use the exact same structure and logic here. The only difference will be that here, just like for your English version, we have to put the auxiliary at the infinitive, which will correspond to your having in after having done something. The French structure will also start with after, which in French is après. And we do have, again, we follow the exact same pattern in English and in French for this structure. So you will have après avoir or après être plus your past participle. Some example will be après avoir lu le livre, corresponding to after having read the book. But we could also have après être allé à Londres, that we will translate here into after going to London. Let's remind ourselves on how to make the passé composé, since we need to know it very well as we are using the same structure. The French equivalent to your perfect tense, or passé composé, is the combination of the auxiliary être, to be, or avoir, to have, at their present tense for the passé composé, and the past participle of the verb you are looking for. The past participle of regular verb, as we've seen in the passé composé lesson, is found thanks to their infinitives. So as if your verb is ending in er, comme manger or écouter from the first group, its past participle will do e accent. So you swap the er, the ending of the infinitive, and you need to replace it by the appropriate ending for your past participle. If your verb ends in ir, so from the second or the third groups, the past participle will be finishing in I, or e in French. And now if the verb is ending in re, also from the third group, the past participle will end in u en français. Now for the irregular verbs, you will find the list attached, which once again is exactly the same than for the passé composé or for the pluperfect or plus que parfait. This structure will, just like in English, use not the present or the imperfect, as we've seen for the previous lessons, but the infinitive form of the auxiliary. But be careful, as you in English, you only use the verb avoir, to have, for this structure. Us, in French, we still have our two options, être, to be, or avoir, to have, or auxiliaries. The logic on when to use être or when to use avoir will be exactly the same, once again, than for the passé composé and for the pluperfect, le plus que parfait. So you can use the Dr. and Mrs. van der Trump list attached, or you can follow my logic, wondering if the action is happening to your whole body, when you will be using the auxiliary être, to be, or if the action is only happening to one part of your body, when you'll be using the auxiliary avoir, to have. Now, as in French we could be using être, you will still need to remember to agree the past participle with the subject. For example, je suis venu après être passé chez mon ami. I came after being at my friend's house. I need to agree the passé by adding an e, as I am a woman. So if you're a man, you don't need to. But remember, when using the auxiliary être, you need to agree. Remember also that if you use the auxiliary avoir, you do not have to agree. This is very important. Let's now have a look at where we should put our negation word, the ne and the pas, remember. This structure is a little bit different than any one we've seen so far. As here, you will need to keep the ne and the pas together. Normally, we always separate them, they sandwich the verb, but here they need to be together. So they just need to be just after après. So in after not being at my friend's house, this will be après ne pas être passé chez mon ami. Après ne pas être passé chez mon ami. Et voilà. This is all you need to know to be able to use this après avoir or après être structure. Bravo! Let's see how you do in the quiz. Allez, merci beaucoup et à très bientôt dans une autre vidéo.